Okay. Okay. Last class we talked about communication process, and what is communication? I guess every one of you know by now. Communication is
Interact with each other. Interact with each other.
interaction. I mean exchange of thoughts. In easy term. So language is actually communication, right? Language itself is a form of communication. So, and communication process requires a channel, a sender, receiver, and there is encoding and decoding plus feedback. There are some little bits of topics to cover in terms of communication. And today, during last class, we talked about verbal and non-verbal communication as well. We will think about it. A deeper, wider understanding of verbal and non-verbal communication. So, what is communication? As we know already, communication is the act of interacting and exchanging ideas with each other, with other people. Two primary forms of communication there are verbal and non-verbal. Okay, both are important. With verbal communication, people express their thoughts, ideas, feelings through spoken or written language. You told me that spoken is verbal, written is non-verbal. No. In verbal communication, people express their everything, ideas, thoughts, feelings, spoken and written language. In non-verbal communication, people use other methods such as body language, including facial expressions, gestures, and more. So, non-verbal communication is about your facial expression, your outlook, your outside, and feelings and thoughts. Those are inside words, right? Inside things, and your outside things are non-verbal things. Okay. So we will talk about verbal communication. So, verbal communication, people use verbal communication to express themselves in many ways during discussions. So we use a lots of communication process to express our thoughts, the speeches, everyday conversations. Every day we do a lots of communications, right? Every day in lots of forms. For example, your mother frown upon you. This is a gesture, body language. This is a non-verbal communication. So when she frown upon you, you get aware, right? And you rectify yourself, right? This is a form of communication as well. So this is non-verbal communications. Just how effective this style of communication it can vary. It will depend on the volume of your voice. So when your mother frown upon you, at the same time her voice tone is raised up. For example, she is rebuking you, hey Asif. So the tone differs. So it indicates that he or she is angry with you. Okay, volume of your voice, the tone you use, the clarity of your speech, and the caliber of the words you use. Sometimes the words are so much powerful. So you probably get some idea of how effective your communication is through the feedback you receive. Actually, your mother's feedback, her anger, this is her anger, her frowning, this is her feedback to you, right? And you get it and you work accordingly, you act accordingly. So you can help improve the effectiveness of your communication by considering your target audience and how you can adjust your message to help them understand you. So your effectiveness depends on their body language, and you improve yourself according to their temperament. For example, your mother's anger, you get serious and you do your homework, or you do your clothes. So we, as students, our problem is our rooms are always messy, right? So, for example, so with verbal communication, you have a lot of control over adapting your message. If you feel it is not effective. So we are trying to say this. So if you think it is not effective, you work accordingly. In order to do this, you should first ensure that you have expressed your intended message. First, make sure you are true to your message. So, for example, you want to convince your mother that I want to marry that girl or boy. Your mother is very angry. So, first you make it very clear. I mean, you are serious. Let it be serious. Then you will think and think how to manage her. So, it's possible for the people to whom you are trying to communicate to misunderstand your words or the intention behind those words. So, your intention. So, you are so much serious about a girl or a boy. So, your intention, your tone, your mood, it will be, it will work accordingly. If you tell your mother, like government office, sir, I did this. In this way, if you say your mother that, Mom, I love this girl, so would she be managed? No, right? So that's the thing. Whether or not your communication is effective, depending on the listener as well as yourself. So your communication, whether it is effective or not, depends both on you and your mother, for example. And you can't control the listener, but you can try to make your message as clear as possible. We can't change people, right? It is always said. It says that people should change themselves. So you can change yourself, not the target audience, not your listener, not your mother or father. To do this, you also need to consider non-verbal communication. For this thing, you also need non-verbal communication. So there is no difference between verbal and non-verbal communication. Rather, both are two sides of the same coin. So both are important. Interconnected. Non-verbal communication, it is a way of communicating without using words, as we all already know. Although non-verbal communication can emphasize spoken words, it can also contradict them. Although non-verbal communication can emphasize spoken word, there are also contradictory among them. For example, the spoken words is meant. For example, your mother frowned upon you this way. So it's a non-verbal communication. So this can be contradictory too. This might have several meanings. So the three main aspects of non-verbal communication are tone of voice, body language, and eye contact. Tone of voice, raising voice, anger, it shows anger, worriness, and lots of things.
Voice intonation.
Voice intonation, body language, for example, anger, eye contact, eye-to-eye contact. When you are talking to your mom, it is not likely that you are looking other side. So you have to talk directly. So in the same way, we have to talk with each other, with a large audience. In the same way, we talk with one person, right? So tone of voice, the volume, pitch, and pace. Pitch means matra. শব্দের মাত্রাটা আর কি volume তো volume শব্দ and pace গতি of your voice displays your feelings. It can help other people determine whether you are upset, confident, angry, etc. So your mother is upset with you, voice going like that, confident, okay. Your mother says okay, or you say, Mom, I'm confident I can manage it, I can do it. Please, Mom, trust me, for example. Angry, so anger also same way. Body language is probably the clearest type of non-verbal communication. It can tell a person a lot about how you feel. So body language is about your feelings. So for example, I talked about frowning. It is a body language. If someone sees that your arms are folded while speaking to you, they will likely feel you are not very receptive to what they have to say. For example, if someone, your arms, you are folding frequently during your talking, they will think that they will assume that you are not very receptive, you are not attentive in your presentation, and whereas if your face the speaker with your arms at your side, you will appear more interested. Okay. Instead of folding your hands, if you face your audience with face to face, so they will think that yes, you are listening or you are actively participating.
Connected.
Yes, you are connected to your audience. Eye contact, making eye contact lets speaker how you know you are interested in this message. Know you are interested in your message. For example, I said in several classes, you are talking and you are talking this way, the green thing, background. You're talking like this. Today's my topic is, seems like you are blind, andhro. So, if you are talking, if you are presenting something, if you are communicating with someone, you have to always maintain your eye contact, right? So it can also help you stay engaged in the conversation and better understand the speaker. You will understand your speaker as well. If you are looking at your speaker, so you are looking at them. So sometimes they are feeling like this way. So you will think that maybe they are confused with something, maybe they have some questions. So in this way, if you are looking at your audience, they will understand that both of you will be beneficial, right? So this is verbal and non-verbal communication, and let's talk about another topic. It's a difference between non-verbal and verbal communication.
Difference between.
Phenomenon. No need.
Okay,
you paused it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Communication is a natural phenomenon. It is an act of interacting with people and sharing information. It's a spontaneous way. Spontaneous মানে স্বতঃস্ফূর্তভাবে আমরা একজনের সাথে যে কথা বলি, এটা হলো communication. So it is an act of interacting with people and sharing information with them. We already know tons of times. Whether you speak or not, it communicates the message to the other party. So আপনি যদি কথা বলেন নাও বলেন, তাও কিন্তু একটা মেসেজ চলে যাচ্ছে। ধরেন আপনি একটু চোখটা ভ্রুটা এরকম করে আছেন, বা মানে অনেকভাবে কিন্তু বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা প্রকাশ পায়। ওকে, আমাদের হাতের মুভমেন্ট থেকে শুরু করে নড়াচড়া সব কিছু, চোখের মুভমেন্ট বা মাথার মুভমেন্ট সব কিছুর উপরে ক্রিয়া করছে। There are two types of communication, verbal and non-verbal. Verbal communication is a communication when you use words to interchange the information with the other people in form of speech or writing. On the contrary, non-verbal communication doesn't use words for communicating anything, but some other modes are used. For example, where communication takes place by way of unspoken or unwritten message, there are some subtle meaning, such as body language, facial expression, sign language, and so forth. So, non-verbal communication, there are body language, facial expression, and sign language. Sign language is important for the blind people. Okay, it is okay. We will talk about the difference here. So, definition of verbal communication. We already know communication in which the sender uses words, whether spoken or written, to transmit the message to the receiver. It is known as verbal communication. Most effective form of communication it is that leads to the rapid interchange of information and feedback. So the interchange of information and feedback is so rapid and effective in verbal way. There are fewer chances of misunderstanding. So আপনাদের মধ্যে ভুল বোঝাবুঝি কম হবে আপনি যদি ভার্বাল ইয়েটা করেন, কমিউনিকেশনটা করেন আর কি। Are you feeling cold? You can sit here or in the back. I guess you are feeling cold. Okay, so you are okay, then okay. So in verbal communication, misunderstanding is fewer, right? Is lesser, and more effective it is. And the communication can be done in two ways: oral, like face-to-face communication, letters, lectures, phone calls, seminars, etc. So face-to-face communication, me and you. Verbal communication, this is oral communication. Written communication is letters, email, SMS, etc. paragraph. There are two types of communication. They are formal and informal communication. Okay, written forms are letters. We did in the first class, right? We write something. We wrote something.
Yeah.
So this is written form. And there are two types of communication: formal and informal. Also, formal communication is official. It's another name is
Presentation.
yes.
Is it presentation?
Yes, it is presentation, formal communication. Official communication, it's a type of communication in which sender follows a predefined channel to transmit the information to the receiver is known as formal communication. So, predefined channel means TV, video, or visual effect, and then your presentation, you will do PowerPoint, you will do PDF. This will be as I am doing now with you. And during your presentation, I will be the audience, you will be the speaker. So this is formal communication. And informal communication is, most commonly, it's a grapevine. It is taught, it's called grapevine. Informal are ek naam holo grapevine, not informal, not formal. The type of communication in which the sender doesn't follow any predefined channels to transmit the information, it is informal communication. So there is no predefined channel. So কোনো নির্দিষ্ট কোনো চ্যানেল ইউজ করা হয় না, informal communication হলো এটা আর কি. So and definition of non-verbal communication is it's based on the understanding of the parties to communication. দুটো পার্টির মধ্যে একটা আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং এর উপর এটা গড়ে উঠছে non-verbal. Because আমি একটা কিছু দেখালাম বা একটা বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ দেখালাম, ওকে ওরা বুঝে গেল. So এটা দুটো পক্ষের মধ্যে একটা বোঝাবুঝি থাকবে, আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং থাকবে. As the transmission of message from the sender to receiver is wordless. যেহেতু এখানে কোনো ওয়ার্ডের ইউজ হচ্ছে না. The communication uses signs. So we are using signs here. So if the receiver understands the message completely and proper feedback is given afterwards, then the communication succeeds. So ঠিকঠাক মতো সবকিছু হলে যদি রিসিভার ঠিকমতো বোঝে এবং the feedback is going well, then the communication is successful. It complements the verbal communication many times. So it actually verbal communication ke complement দেয় বা fulfill করে to understand the mindset and the status of the two parties. Both parties এর mindset, তাদের understanding, তাদের status, তাদের অবস্থান এটা বোঝাতে সাহায্য করে, which is not spoken by them, যেটা আমরা মৌখিকভাবে বলি না, but it is an act of understanding, কিন্তু মানুষ ঠিকই বুঝে যায়. The type of non-verbal communication are as under chronomics, vocalics, haptics, kinesics, and proxemics and artifacts. So first one is chronemics. Chronemics is related to chronology. Chronologically means it is related to time, right? Chronology means time. So the use of time in communication is chronemics. So which speaks about the personality of the sender or receiver, like punctuality, the speed of speech. Okay, your punctuality, your speech, মানে আপনাদের স্পিচের যে স্পিড, এগুলোর উপর বেস করে এগুলো হলো ক্রোনেমিক্স বলে আর কি, আপনি কতটা আপনি পারফেক্ট. ভোকালিক্স, the volume, vocal means it's related to volume, your tone, the tone of your voice and pitch used by the sender for communicating a message to the receiver is known as vocalics. So when you are writing, the name itself defines the definition. So আপনি নামটা দেখলে বুঝতে পারবেন, এগুলো লেখার সময় আপনার এটা মাথায় থাকবে, নামটা ইয়ে করলে মানে আপনি লিখতে পারবেন কি বলতেছে এখানে. Then comes to haptics. The use of touch in communication is the expression of feelings and emotions. মানে কতটা টাচি হয় আপনার কথাগুলো, ইমোশনাল কতটুকু করতে পারেন. ইমোশনাল মানে আবেগ বা কান্নাকাটি না, কোনো এক্সাইটমেন্টের কিছু, বা ধরেন অ্যাডভার্টাইজের মধ্যে কি বলে দারুণ অফার. So এগুলো আর কি haptics. Kinesics. This is the study of the body language of the person. For example, gestures, postures. আচ্ছা, আমরা gesture, posture, facial expression এর কথা বলেছিলাম, non-verbal communication. So this is called kinesics. মানে আপনার বডির গতিশীলতা. Kinesiology ওটা গতি সংক্রান্ত বিদ্যা, kinesiology. So আপনার gesture, posture আর facial impression গুলো আপনার বডির যে kinesics বা গতি এটার উপর ইয়া করতেছে, ডায়নামিক্স এর উপরে নির্ভর করছে. Next comes proxemics, the distance maintained by a person while communicating with others. So একটা distance maintain করা হয় communication এর সময় একজনের সাথে আরেকজনের. So communicates about the relationship of the person with others like intimate, personal, social and public. So intimate communication, personal, social and public. These are some communications which I will talk later in other class. In this class I will discuss them. Okay. And final is artifacts. The appearance of a person speaks about his personality, right? আপনি যেভাবে কথা বলছেন আপনার দাঁড়ানো আপনার কথা বলার মাধ্যমে আপনার অনেক পার্সোনালিটির অনেক কিছু স্ক্রুটিনাইজ করতে পারবে আরেকজন. So for example, by the way of your clothing, carrying jewelry, lifestyle, etc. So clothing, আপনার ক্লোদিং দেখে মানুষ বুঝতে পারবে যে আপনি কোন ক্লাসে বিলং করেন সম্ভব. তারপরে জুয়েলারি, ক্যারিং জুয়েলারি মেয়েদের ক্ষেত্রে মেয়েদের ক্ষেত্রে এই জন্যই বলা হয় যে প্রেজেন্টেশন এরকম দেওয়ার সময় বা ধরেন আপনি জবের ইন্টারভিউ যাবেন একজন মেয়ে তার কিন্তু অত হাই লেভেলের অর্নামেন্টস পরা নিষেধ, তার কিন্তু মেকআপ করা নিষেধ. দে আর নট অ্যালাউড টু ডু too much makeup or high volume of jewelry. They can't. So and lifestyle. So if you are if you are diagnosed which kind of person you are, so your lifestyle is revealed, right? So after lifestyle kemon etai holo apnar ber hoye ashe. This kind of communication is known as artifactual communication. So কিছু artifacts আমাদের artifacts গুলো কি আমাদের ক্লোদিং আর আর্টিফ্যাক্ট মানে কি ওই যে প্রাচীনকালে যে জিনিসগুলো ওয়ার্ল্ড হেরিটেজে যেগুলো ঐতিহ্যের যেমন আমাদের নৌকা টুকাগুলো মিউজিয়ামসে the things kept in the museums, those are called artifacts, right? So এগুলো আমাদের হলো বডির যে artifacts. So now comes the difference, main question, between verbal and non-verbal communication. Number one, the use of words in communication is verbal, and which is based on signs, not words, it's non-verbal. Very easy, right? Word-এর ব্যবহার থাকবে একটাতে থাকবে না. এটা হলো একটা main difference verbal and non-verbal communication এর মধ্যে. Number two, there are very fewer chances of confusion in verbal communication between the sender and receiver. I mean, confusion level is very low in verbal communication. For example, বলে না যে sometimes you are told in like DD number 1, for example, you have to show something. You have to tell the name of a cinema with your body language. So many people can't understand. So this is non-verbal communication. So where it is not possible to understand the full name. Not everyone. It is not the cup of tea for everyone. So in verbal communication, misunderstanding level is 0. In non-verbal communication, conversely, the chances of misunderstanding and confusion in non-verbal communication are very much as the use of language is not done. So এখানে তো ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজের ব্যবহার হচ্ছে না. So বোঝার ভুল হতেই পারে non-verbal communication. In verbal communication, the interchange of message is very fast, which leads to rapid feedback. So in verbal communication, interchange of the message. So message যে interchanging other product fast. So it's a pace টা হলো so that's why আমরা একটা rapid feedback পাচ্ছি. And in opposition to this, the non-verbal communication is based more on understanding, which takes time, and hence it is comparatively slow. So number 1 is use of word. Number 2 is confusion and misunderstanding. Points. I'm talking about the points. So this will be easier for you to write down in answer scripts. Number 3 is about pacing. Verbal communication is fast and non-verbal communication is slow because we have to understand it. So there is clarity in verbal communication and non-verbal communication lesser clarification. In verbal communication, the presence of both the parties at the place of the communication is not necessary. So verbal communication যেটা হচ্ছে যে আমরা যে কোনো জায়গা থেকে বসে কমিউনিকেশন করতে পারছি. আমি এই লেকচারটা দিচ্ছি, আপনি you will be able to get your lectures in YouTube, over YouTube. So it's not necessary to have both the parties present in the same place, but in non-verbal communication, both parties needed to be there. সো নন ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশনে আপনি যেরকম করে বলছেন সেটা দেখে আপনার জাজ বা আমরা যারা না মার্কিং করবো, সো আমরা বুঝতে পারছি আপনার বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ বা ইয়াটা থেকে আমরা বুঝতে পারতেছি। সো এটা একটা জিনিস। Number 5, in verbal communication, the documentary evidence is maintained if the communication is formal or written. আচ্ছা, verbal communication এভিডেন্স বেসড হয়। এভিডেন্সটা কিছু ডকুমেন্ট এভিডেন্স থাকে, ফর এক্সাম্পল এই যে পাওয়ার পয়েন্টটা, এটা এভিডেন্স ইজ মেইনটেইনড ইফ দ্য কমিউনিকেশন ইজ ফর্মাল অর রিটেন। সো আমরা এটা একটা ফর্মাল কমিউনিকেশন করছি না আমি, সো অ্যান্ড ইট ইজ রিটেন, বাট দেয়ার ইজ নো কনক্লুসিভ এভিডেন্স ইন কেস অফ নন ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশন। নন ভার্বালি তো এটা ভালোই নেই। সো দ্যাটস ইট। Number 6, verbal communication fulfills the most natural desire of humans, talk. ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশনের প্রধান উদ্দেশ্য হলো টক, কথার মাধ্যমে কিন্তু কমিউনিকেশন। এটা বলাই হয়ে থাকে যে সভ্যতার civilization is developed through the language. Without the discovery of language, I mean human being can't be that much civilized. সভ্য হতে পারতো না। In the case of non-verbal communication, feelings, status, emotions, personality, etc. are very easily communicated through the acts done by the parties of the communication. ওখানে হলো ভার্বালে হলো কথার মাধ্যমে, আর নন ভার্বালে বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, পোস্টার, জেস্টার, সেগুলোর মাধ্যমে। Then comes to the conclusion. Done. Verbal and non-verbal communication are not contradictory to each other. Once I said, না একটা আরেকটার সাথে কিন্তু বিপরীত না, আমাদের এটার পার্থক্য করব না। আমাদের কাজ হলো, but they are complementary, as somebody has rightly said, actions are louder than words. কি বলে মানুষ? কাজের কথার চেয়ে কাজে কথা বলে বেশি। সো কাজ জিনিসটা কি? নন ভার্বাল, যেটা আমরা দেখতে পারি না। আবার ওয়ার্ডস কিন্তু হলো কথা, যে জিনিসটা হলো কমিউনিকেশনের প্রধান উপাদান। In short, both goes side by side and helps a human being to interact and respond to other human beings. So, দুটো জিনিসই পাশাপাশি অবস্থান করে এবং মানুষের ইন্টারাকশনে সাহায্য করে। Verbal communication is obviously an important part of life, as we use words to communicate. একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট পার্টই হলো ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশন। আর আজ আমি কথা বলছি, এটা ছাড়া আমি কিভাবে কমিউনিকেট করবো আপনাদের সাথে? আজকে আপনাদের সাথে কমিউনিকেট করতে পারতাম। But have you ever thought that a small baby can't use language or words to speak? Here comes the difference. একটা ছোট বাচ্চার কমিউনিকেশন কিন্তু ভার্বাল না, নন ভার্বাল। His or her body structure, হাত পা নাড়াচ্ছে, কাঁদছে, he or she is crying. তাদের কান্নাটাই হলো তাদের ইন্ডিকেশন দ্যাট দে আর হাংরি। এটা গেল, বাট they choose signs to show his anger, happiness and sorrow. ওই সাইনগুলোর মাধ্যমে, হাত পা নেড়ে কান্নার মাধ্যমে তার হ্যাপিনেস শো করছে, তার রাগ শো করছে, তার দুঃখ প্রকাশ করছে। একইভাবে সিমিলারলি deaf and dumb persons also use sign language for communicating with other people. তাহলে কি ডিফ অ্যান্ড ডাম, যারা কথা বলতে পারে না এবং যারা শুনতে পায় না, তারাও সাইন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ইউজ করছে। সো ছোট বাচ্চারা ডিফ অ্যান্ড ডামের ক্ষেত্রে, এদের ক্ষেত্রে বডি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজের জন্য নন ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশন ছাড়া তো উপায় নেই। সো দিস ইজ দ্য সিগনিফিকেন্স অফ নন ভার্বাল কমিউনিকেশন ইন মেনি লাইফস। তাহলে নন ভার্বালের অবদানও অস্বীকার করার উপায় নেই। সো আপনি দেখবেন যে নাটক, সরি খবরগুলো নিউজ চ্যানেলে খবর পড়ে, অনেক বাংলাদেশের বিটিভিতেও আছে, আবার বিদেশেও দেখবেন কথা বলছে, পাশ দিয়ে একজন কানা আছে। তার মানে হলো যারা মানে বলতে পারে না বা করতে পারে, কথা শুনতে পারে না, তারা যেন তার দেখে বোঝে।